And so, hello. It's Palm Sunday at the Javits, New York Medical Station. I'm Chaplain Jake Marvel, working here with Operation Gotham. My primary role here is as an interfaith chaplain. We meet or provide for the needs of all the military and the civilian participants in this massive undertaking. We're on the front lines of a historic effort against an enemy that is cruel. It's invisible, and it attacks the most vulnerable among us. In addition to the individual support and counsel that we as chaplains offer, from time to time we fall to the specific roles as spiritual leader of our own faith traditions. Today I will share with you a short thought for this day, Palm Sunday, a holy day for Christians. Today's lesson comes from the Gospel of Matthew. I'm not as old as the Gospel, but I had to change my glasses every now and then. This is how Matthew records the story of Jesus coming in on Palm Sunday. You may have heard this. I heard this story many times as a kid. In fact, we got to hear the story on a Sunday when we were allowed to walk around church waving palm branches and celebrating and doing all this fun stuff. And then within just a few days, things had changed dramatically. But this is how the story of Holy Week begins. As they approached Jerusalem and came to Bethphage on the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and you'll find a donkey tied with a colt. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, say, 'The Lord needs them,' and he will send them right away." This took place to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet Zechariah. "Say to daughter Zion, see, your king comes to you, gentle, riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." So the disciples went, and they did just as Jesus had instructed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and placed their cloaks on them for Jesus to sit on, and a large crowd gathered, and they put their cloaks on the ground, and they cut branches from trees and spread them on the road. The crowd went ahead of him and behind him, and they were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Hosanna, save us! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest!" When Jesus entered Jerusalem, the whole city was stirred, and everyone was asking, "Who is this?" And the crowds who were chanting with him answered back, "This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth in Galilee." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So, as I said a moment ago, hearing the story as a kid, I didn't understand what was happening and why this week was so different. How it was that one day there could be such celebration. And by the end of the week, I had to go to church on Thursday night. By the end of the week, people were sad, crying, and the story from the pastor changed dramatically. In just a few days, the world changed. In just a few days, our world has changed. I'm not going to read the numbers to you, partly because they change so fast right now, partly because for me, I'm trying to pay attention to the people that I meet. People who are courageous enough to put on a gown, walk into a stranger's bedside and offer care. People who are terrified. The people who are demonstrating tremendous courage and bravery. The people who look with hope. The people who wish they could just drink it all away and wake up another day when its sun is brighter. How quickly the world can change. It's a story I've preached many times, but to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure I understood it the same way I do today. I actually went back and looked at some notes of what I'd said in the past, and a line that I used sounds very different to me today. On that Sunday, Jesus entered Jerusalem, the hero. Within a few days, he was executed as a criminal. For Jesus, that week was a tremendous change. For God, that week was consistent and true and did not change. God's love for the people, Jesus' love and compassion for all people did not change. People's opinions change. Our fashions change. God does not change. People's idea of who God should be or what God could do for us change. God's compassion and love for us does not change. We cannot know the ways of God entirely. I don't understand why this is happening. What I do know is the story of Holy Week is a story of a God whose deep and passionate love for us is consistent day to day. God is on our side. You are loved. The story of Holy Week is one of people betraying God, people turning away from God, Jesus suffering, and God's consistent, passionate love for us. I don't know what the next week holds. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 days. But as I face this week, I invite you to join me in remembering the Son of God, who walked into Jerusalem, rode into Jerusalem, triumphant and celebrating, head held high, with a compassionate heart for everybody. I'm going to hold that image this week and hope and invite that you might do the same, of a Jesus who loves us dearly and of a God whose love for us never changes. Some of us in the coming week are going to get sick. Many people in the coming week in this facility will die. We don't have to face this alone. We have communities of faith. We have communities of celebration. We have communities of grief. We have communities. And we have a God who has promised never to leave us, never to forsake us, who will be with us at all times. And so my wish for you this week is for a God that you would know the love of a God who made you and loves you so deeply. The love of a God who would do anything for you, even suffer, die. A God who will be with you every step of your journey. There is no place that you will go that God has not and will not be. Be at peace. Love and serve this God. Amen.